So, parent councils, this session is about licenses and fundraising. And as chair of Glasgow City Parents Group, I just want to emphasise the cost of a school day to you. Every piece of fundraising that you do within the school, you should always be mindful of the cost of the school day at first, because we can't be pushing those financial pressures onto families. I know at times parent councils can often feel pressure themselves to fundraise to provide schools and pupils with materials or things that they feel that they need. But what you also need to remember is the financial pressure that you're experiencing as a parent council. You're then often quite pushing that onto families who feel that they need to contribute to these initiatives. So just always bear that in mind. Where you can, try and make your fundraising as low cost as possible. Try and open your fundraising up to the wider community where you can and where it's permitted. And try and put on free events or free experiences where possible, just to relieve that financial pressure for your families and make sure that you're not asking them too many times throughout the year or at particular times of the year like Christmas and summertime, where there is already financial pressures um, around providing for their children. So we're going to just quickly cover licenses and fundraising in this short session.
Um, I think picking up on the point that Leanne was making about not asking families for too much, it's also important, as you'll see from the top tip there, to let people know what you're actually raising funds for. So being open and transparent from the start of this is what we are, trying to get money together, and this is what we'll spend it on. So being really clear, because you have to remember that the money that you are asking parents to donate, they are donating that on the understanding that it will be used to benefit all children in the schools. So a bit of clarity is always helpful. I'm now going to move on to the issue that has actually generated a lot of discussion over the last few months, and that is alcohol on school premises. This is a very clear rule from education. There was no consultation because consultation wasn't required. And really, it's about breaking the link between alcohol and our school premises and thinking about the message that that gives to children. So it's a very, very clear for everybody, not just for parent councils. This rule is a rule that applies to anybody who approaches Glasgow Life for a let. So no alcohol can be sold or consumed on school premises. So anybody that books for an event in a school is subject to the same rule. And this includes selling raffle and tombola tickets in schools with alcohol prizes, where the alcohol prizes are included, but the alcohol is not on site. So you are selling there with alcohol as a prize. It's also raising the profile of alcohol. And a number of parents have actually said that they're glad for this rule, because alcohol has caused a lot of damage in their families. When they were growing up, they were subjected to, maybe somebody who drank a bit too much, and they are really, really glad that we are breaking the link on our premises. And also from an inclusion point of view, we are a very diverse city, and there are a number of children in our schools whose families are part of a faith group that does not consume alcohol. So in doing so, we are saying that school is a place of education, and it's not a place where alcohol is either sold or consumed or is one of the prizes in your raffle. So very, very clear. And the licensing section at Glasgow City Council has been advised of these conditions. So if the parent council wants to hold an event with alcohol, we appreciate that that it does generate a lot of income. A venue other than the school needs to be used. And if you're going to have an event elsewhere, it's maybe a good idea to think about somewhere that has its own alcohol license. So some bowling clubs are quite cheap to rent, and you may find that they are able to actually, provide alcohol at the event because the license holder will be there. So you need to check these things out. But if you were hiring a hall you would still need to have an alcohol licence if there wasn't a licence holder on the premises. If it was bring your own, then that's different. Now, if you're having an event where maybe families are coming along, I would urge you to think carefully about how, having alcohol there, and again, do you have adults who are under the influence of alcohol looking after their children? So you need to think about a robust risk assessment for those events. We hear of them, and we've heard stories of events that have gone wrong because alcohol has been consumed in quite high quantities by some of the adults there who are supposed to be looking after their children. And if you're the parent council in charge of that event, it does put you into quite a difficult position. And also, if things go wrong, the reputation of the school often features, because if the media was to hear about something, or if it went out on social media, the reputational damage for everybody can be quite high. So you want to think carefully if you're going to have an event off-site, particularly if you're planning for it to be a family event with alcohol there. And if you have a bar at your event, you'll require an occasional and personal licence from Glasgow City Council. And you can see that we've given you the link there, that you can contact the licensing section and obtain a licence, provided that's not an event that's taking place in school. Continuing on licences and fundraising, again, we see lots of examples of things that there may be on social media, things that are happening that are actually in breach of some of the gambling commissions, the rules around gambling. So the simplest way to avoid this, so something like a 100 club or a bonus ball, they don't require a licence if you're only selling tickets in school, obviously to staff and parents. You wouldn't be selling these things to children because children are not old enough to gamble. But if you kept that in school and don't open it up to the wider community, then that's absolutely fine. You don't have to have a licence. However, if you plan to open your events or the selling of these things up, as I see quite often on social media, selling beyond the school, then you need to check the legislation that applies to what you're planning to do by visiting the Gambling Commission website. So simple is to keep it in-house. Raffles and tombolas, which lots of people do, are considered to be a small lottery in the eyes of the law. And this means that you're only able to offer no more than £250 for prizes, and you can't award cash prizes. So it's quite simple. Most people will be running a raffle or a tombola that falls well within that. And you can award donated gifts up to the value of £250, but under no circumstances can you give cash back. So hopefully that one doesn't cause too much difficulty for people if you just stick to the no cash prizes and keep your prizes under that £250 limit. So again, if you want to read more, the Fundraising UK website and the Gambling Commission website, and also the Glasgow City Council Small Lotteries webpage have lots of information. And I think that Connect, who are a source of information for our parent councils as you have membership, are about to add they're about to add some of this information, because these things aren't just issues for us here in Glasgow. Lots of other local authorities go down the same road and have the same rules. So Connect have recognised that they want to be able to provide the type of information that I have just given you in this video on their webpage. And there's lots of other useful links that we've provided for you: how to run your 100 clubs, your private societies, lotteries, and all the other, how to get a licence and those occasional licences. So there's lots of links, and I think it is worth paying attention to the rules, because you don't want to find yourself as part of a parent council event that is breaching any of these rules.
And then just as a reminder, the link to these slides is in the YouTube description below, where then you'll be able to link through to the additional links that Catherine has already mentioned.